What's going on, everybody? Welcome into 2023 of the Final Whistle Sports Podcast. And it is not just Blaine Spencer no more. I want to officially welcome Joseph Chichilitti as my new co-host to the Final Whistle Sports Podcast. It'll work better, but Joe, this is something that we've been kind of keeping under wraps for a hot minute.
Absolutely, man. Man, it's Jordan's year. We had to start off right, and this is incredible stuff, man. I'm so happy to be here, ready to talk some sports, ready to have a good time here on the Final Whistle. It's going to be a blast.
Joe, why don't you give my people a bit of a background about yourself, just a hot second. Now, I know you did your own podcast for a little while, so why don't you talk about what you've been doing in the field? And, I reeled in basically begging this past month, so.
Me, just a big sports ecstatic person here. I am a collegiate golfer. At one point I was, so I do know my way around the golf course a little bit here and there. But I enjoy sports, love watching every single kind. Catch me in front of the TV, especially now during the fall. Come Saturday, Sunday, Monday, even Thursdays, even though those games are shit most of the time. But we're still sitting there. We're still watching the games. Tuning into basketball, all Philadelphia, except football team. I am a Falcons fan, but I'll cover the East Coast while Blaine covers the West Coast.
We love that. What an introduction. The collegiate golfer, and I have played golf with this man, so he is actually a legit golfer, people. And me, on the other hand, we all know that I fucking suck. So, without further ado, Joe, I know this was supposed to be like a fun and exciting show, but unfortunately, last night kind of took a table to the turn with that. And we're going to have to kind of start on a solemn note here to open up the show. And that is with our thoughts and prayers going out to Damar Hamlin. Ended up having a cardiac arrest last night in the Monday Night Football game with the Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati Bengals. If you guys have not seen that yet, it is disturbing to watch. If you watch the entire videos, CPR is administered and caught for like severe CPR. Like, as someone who has to teach CPR to students, like that is the utmost that you can get of, like, there pretty much was almost trying to break his rib cage almost by how much impact and force they were trying to utilize to get his airways and heart pumping again. And right now he's in critical condition in Cincinnati. Our thoughts and prayers are go with him. It's just a scary sight to see. And the biggest thing that I want to get across to Joe is that we're not sports gurus, or at least we think we are, but I would say we're not. But this is not just, it's bigger than us. You know what I mean? These guys are going out, risking their lives day in, day out as athletes to go entertain us. So I think this was something that needs to just be transcended. And like, people, we scream at the TV. We sometimes will say, hey, you suck. And I said it a lot to Carson Wentz on TV on Sunday. So, but just a sad something to see. And all we can do is pray for him.
Yeah, man. T's and P's to Mr. Hamlin, his family. Wild that his parents were like in the stadium with him. They even like waited for the ambulance afterwards for them to get in there. Just I'd be devastated as a parent seeing your child collapse on the football field, let alone almost, cardiac arrest, almost dying. It seemed like at one point. But yeah, T's and P's to them. Shout out to the responders right there, the medical staff to just jump on that immediately and try to do their best to keep the situation contained as best as they can do while on the field. But yeah, it was wild to watch because I was tuned into the game. It's probably one of the biggest games of the NFL career. I think a lot of people were tuned into this game. And I remember just sitting there and I just watched the hit and it kind of just looked like a regular hit, like nothing out of the sort. And they were like, all right, we're going to injury timeout. I'm okay. Somebody just got injured. It's, the name of the game here. These guys are warriors out there and you're going to see injuries, every time you see it get on a football field. But this one, I was like, all right, it's an injury. Then they come back from commercial break and they got the ambulance out there. And granted, like, as a guy that watches the NFL, the ambulance doesn't come out one too many times, unless it's like a severe injury. But when the ambulance came out and then they panned to Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs crying, I'm like, all right, something's really, really, really serious is going on. Then Joe Buck said something about CPR for 8 to 9 minutes. And, as a guy, I just know that if you have CPR more than 5 minutes, you're in like danger zone, essentially. So it was unbelievable situation that, we just kind of never expected to happen. The last time we saw something like this was like Ryan Shazier that was even semi close to that. But yeah, man, T's and P's to him and his family, his friends, everybody there. Just, it's the NFL, as much as we love it, it's a business, but, in the end, he's a human being. You got to give some credit to him and give some prayers out to him.
Absolutely. And I think you raise a good point. Like, this isn't something that, like, I know cardiac arrest is something that is that's a lower thing, but like Ryan Shazier. But this is something that ESPN has caught now twice in the last year and a half. Like, if you guys remember the Euros from 2021 in the summer, Christian Eriksen had that throw in and he literally went into cardiac arrest after taking 2 steps on the field. Just something extremely similar, just like whatever emotions and adrenaline and something just happened in that sheer moment that put him into cardiac arrest.
Mm-hmm. And wasn't there another guy too that played in college basketball last year, 2 years ago, that also collapsed on the court?
Florida, and we thought that was more COVID related, but they figured out that was not. I think, if I remember correctly, the Florida basketball player, he's now back. So if you're a Buffalo Bills fan and just a football fan, like, this is not potentially the end for Damar Hamlin. We've seen 2 athletes already come back from this and still perform at the highest level. I mean, is it a long and strenuous road? Without question. But all we can do is give our thoughts and prayers to them, and hope nothing but the best. And hopefully we get some good news soon, because the only update we have is that he's in critical condition still. So that's the best we can relay to you guys. Hopefully we will know more sooner rather than later. So
yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more.
All right. Now let's hop into arguably the greatest college football playoff that has taken place. My Lord, I was on the edge of my seat. I was trashed. I was drunk. I was yelling at it. I was never been more intense to watch a goddamn college football game. My Wi-Fi went out at one point, so I'm streaming it on TikTok to watch the freaking end of the Georgia-Ohio State game. My mom's screaming at me to put on New Year's Eve the countdown for the East Coast. And midnight strikes. And Noah Ruggles shakes one for Ohio State for the Georgia Bulldogs to escape 42-41, rallying from, I think it was 11 points in the final 8 minutes or so, roughly. And then in the semifinal before that, fireworks, TCU, Michigan. Like, these 2 games were unprecedented, let alone that you would hope to get one of these games just all year in college football. You get 2 back-to-back. Joseph, just walk me through what you watched.
Yeah, unbelievable performance. I mean, first off, T's and P's. We were saying that all day. T's and P's to the guy that had the under in the TCU and Ohio State game, because that got blown out in like the first quarter. But no, it was incredible games to watch, incredible performance. Yeah, here on the East Coast, the ball dropped and the ball missed wide left for Ohio State too. And as a Penn State homer, love seeing Michigan and Ohio State go down. Big fan. I love it. I was shocked about TCU though. I really didn't expect them to like do the way they did. Like they look good. When you think of a Big 12 team, I sometimes like, all right, you're like, yeah, they're good, but like they never come through. They never pull through. Like it's always SEC, SEC, SEC. Nah, not today. TCU came out and balled out. That kid, what's his name? Williams, the wide receiver, excuse me, from TCU.
The wide receiver. Oh, I know
Or
who
is it
you're talking
Johnson?
about.
He's
Quentin
supposed
Johnson, baby. Quentin Johnson, absolute bucket.
Oh, man can play. We saw some wide receiver performance on Sunday, excuse me. It was incredible stuff. I mean, between him, he's supposed to go top 10 in the NFL draft. And next year, with Marvin Harrison Jr. going off, too, it was incredible performance at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, before he got hurt, Marvin Harrison was lighting it up before that controversial no targeting call in the end zone there.
You're going to see a lot of guys from those two games. You're going to see a lot of them on Sunday next year. I guarantee it.
Oh, my goodness. And the biggest thing, kudos to TCU. 2 pick sixes for touchdowns. But Michigan, honestly, if you're a Michigan Wolverine fan, you are throwing up because you gave TCU that game every way imaginable. The refs didn't help you. I'm not going to lie that there was a couple of questionable calls by that officiating crew. But what do? Picks. You get down to the 1 yard line. You run Philly special from the 4th and 1? What are you doing? Michigan, you're known for your grounding and pounding. You run Philly special, lose 10 yards. Then you throw a pick 6. Then the next drive, or not the next drive, but they were going in for a score again after they picked off Duggan from TCU. I mean, the official did spot the ball completely incorrect, off by at least 3 or 4 yards. That was bad. But then all right, arguably I would say that play was a touchdown that went to, what's his name? To Wilson on that touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, you fumble at the inch line on the very next play. What are you doing? There was so many miscues from a Michigan standpoint that if they played a clean football game, they win by double digits. Easy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
I
the
agree.
whole point of why we play the game, right? That's why we play the game.
Exactly.
And TCU lights out. Duggan was absolutely spectacular. And the only way TCU was going to beat Michigan was that they had to somehow be a front runner when they've been a team that has been the cardiac comeback kids all year long. And they got the front runner. They held on late. Just outstanding football. And then on the other side of the Ohio State Georgia game, Ohio State, you laid an egg too. Your dude falls down for that big touchdown late in the 4th quarter for Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
They settled for field goals when they had the opportunity to get touchdowns. I mean, CJ Stroud, man. Hey, I have this thing against Ohio State quarterbacks, but you were an absolute bucket Saturday night. And
he looked good, man. He looked good.
Really showcased something that we didn't see, and that's his mobility as a runner. You hadn't seen that in his entire career so far. And he was like, all right, I'll show you what I got for the next level. I mean, he just basically said, yo, I'm the number 1 pick next year, boy. So
I see.
Unreal.
For me, I look at these games sometimes as a lot of NFL draft prospects. I'm looking at the guy, the star guy. How's he doing these big games?
Come out this year, so excuse me.
Yeah. He comes out this year. So, Stroud looked good, right? Had a big game, had over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. QBR was up there in the 90s, I believe, too. But the number 1 overall projected pick, Bryce Young, looked good, though. He threw a bucket pass.
Man, that game, I think he played before them, too. Oh, good Lord.
He looked good. But I got to get back to the college football. There was a lot of talent, like I said, out there. Marvin Harrison Jr. next year is going to be incredible. And even on the Georgia side, that defense is still – I know they gave up 41 points. I know that. But there's still some dogs on there. Jalen Carter is going to be a beast in the NFL. He had a good game. Ringo, the cornerback from Georgia, supposed to go top 10, and he actually shut down Marvin Harrison before Marvin Harrison got hurt from that targeting call, which was a clear targeting call. I don't know how it wasn't.
Right.
But he shut him down. I believe it was like when he covered him, he was 1 for 5 for like 12 yards. So good numbers for Ringo there. But yeah, that was an electric game. Like Georgia with the comeback. Stenson, the old man himself. What's he, like 26 years old?
Yo, he's our age, bro. He's our age out there playing with little kids.
Bro, he's about to apply for like AARP soon. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's incredible stuff. Like I don't understand how this man, him and Sean Clifford have been with their team for so long. It's unbelievable stuff, man. It really. I don't know how the
Notre Dame's about one of those. We just apparently unofficially landed the Wake Forest transfer Hartman, who's been lighting it up for Wake Forest. He's gonna be like 25 coming to Notre Dame.
Oh, like, yeah, it's all good and dandy, but like, what's that gonna do for you in your drafting? Like, you're not gonna go nowhere. Like, nobody's gonna want you.
It hurts their stock because they have no ceiling now at this point because you know what they're gonna get at this age.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants a Brandon Weeden again, you know?
Oh, Brandon Weeden. Sorry.
Like, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, Monday night, it's gonna be incredible stuff again. You got Georgia, you got TCU, two dogs going at it.
Who you got?
I mean, like I said, I was
Are you riding the horn frog train? Are you hopping on?
Look, I'll tell you what, they look good. They looked good versus Michigan.
Yo, and spread is 14. Yo, if you take Horned Frogs outright, big payday. Huge.
Look, I like the Horned Frogs. They look good. Their offense is electric, right? They play awesome ball. And you know what? I still can't go against the SEC and Georgia, baby. So I'm going Georgia. I'll lay the 14 points. I'm all in for it. Give it to me. Georgia's gonna dump. Georgia's gonna dump on them. It's gonna be unbelievable to watch.
Oh, you're taking Georgia minus 14.
Yeah, folks, you might be in bed by 10:30 because it's gonna be over. Eastern Standard Time, of course.
Yikes! I mean, all right. I'm taking TCU to cover the spread. All right. Honestly, I might shoot you a text and be like, "Hey, give me the adjustment to the 14.5. I got them losing by 14."
Yeah, man. I like the dogs, man. The dogs are they're just unstoppable, man. They're 14-0 for a reason.
Kirby's pulling a Saban right now, making his own dynasty down there in Atlanta. He really is.
See, I don't like that the word dynasty, especially for Georgia, because here's the reason why.
They've been there now the last 5 years.
Here's the reason why. Because Clemson was in that same boat, right?
Oh, Clemson, they're done.
But now they're done, right? They fell off the face of the earth. You have no idea what they're doing. They get guys out into the NFL. Don't get me wrong. Like, they're gonna have probably two top 5 guys on their defensive line. But like, Saban every year is there. Yes, this year he did not make it to the playoffs, but like every year he has that team in the top 10 no matter what. No matter what. So I can't consider that a dynasty per se. Yeah, I can't do that yet.
I mean, they're the best team. They're the best team all year, Georgia.
For me,
I mean, it hasn't really been close. And they really, honestly, they haven't even gotten out of second gear this year until literally the second half of last Saturday. Like, they were honestly kind of going through the motions on Saturday for like that first half until they realized, like, oh shit, we're actually about to lose this game.
That's fair. For me, when I think of a dynasty, you think of the New England Patriots from like 2000 to 2018, right?
Right.
Or you got to give some credit. Golden State Warriors, they did have that incredible run. Like, basketball is a lot tougher than football. In terms of, getting back and winning because anything can happen. Anything can happen in football. Don't get me wrong, but when you got Tom Brady at the helm, like, you'll be fine. But yeah, those to me are dynasties. I can't consider Georgia right now a dynasty.
Right. No, it's a fair argument. Fair. I mean, I think we're both in agreement that the Dogs are hoisting another one going back to back. But so, I mean, they're legit. All right. So there's 2 spots left, Joe, in the playoffs for the National Football League. 2 spots left. The 7 seed in both conferences are available. Let's run through who are the teams that have a chance here to make it. In the AFC, right now, New England holds the 7th spot at 8-8, and it's going to be between the Patriots, Dolphins, and Steelers. Good Lord, how has Pittsburgh gotten themselves back into the conversation is beyond me.
Kenny Pickett, baby.
And on the NFC side, it is Seattle holding the spot now at 8-8, with Detroit and Green Bay tied at 8-8. So for Green Bay, but Green Bay actually holds the advantage in the NFC. If Green Bay wins, they're in. So because they'll hold tiebreakers over the Seahawks. And then I believe it's New England holds the tiebreakers over Miami and Pittsburgh. If New England wins, they're in. So it's extremely fascinating. Doesn't seem like Tua's going to play this week from what Coach McDaniel's looking like. He said he's not really in the conversation to be the starting quarterback, which I think is the correct decision with the amount of concussions he's already had this year.
Great.
So who gets the final spots? Who are you taking? Let's go AFC first. Who you got?
It's gonna be a tough one here to say.
Dude,
I like the Steelers.
God damn it! I was gonna say the Steelers.
I like the Steelers. I really do. They're playing hot. They're playing good ball. I don't think New England has really a chance. Because they're at Buffalo. Buffalo is really gonna have some fire under their ass this week.
Oh,
you know that.
They're going to be playing for Damar the rest of the year. So
correct. Like I wouldn't be shocked if they win by like 30 this week. Like it's going to be outstanding game to watch because Josh Allen's going to have an MVP performance. Now the thing is this, because you got Tua out and Teddy Bridgewater's also out this week because he broke a finger. He broke a finger, I believe, in his throwing hand. So with that, you are now starting Skylar Thompson, I believe it is.
Skylar Thompson.
Not the biggest fan. Now, can they beat the Jets? The Jets, Jets? Yeah, there's a chance. There is a chance. Sure. But cocaine slinger Mike White is back, baby. He's winning games. He wins games. So Miami loses this game. And then it comes down to Steelers. And then with that being said, the Steelers, Kenny Pickett's hot right now. Najee Harris is getting going. TJ Watt feeling good. The defense is looking good. And they're playing Cleveland, dude. I mean, look, granted, Deshaun Watson did look good in the second half against Washington. But I don't think
I knew you were trying to get that in, you little shit.
But, I mean, I think Pittsburgh is going to be slides in, and again, it just adds to Mike Tomlin's resume and why he's one of the best coaches to ever coach. He gets this team to 9-8, again, another above 500 year. He slides into the playoffs for a team that you didn't expect to make the playoffs. You did not expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to make the playoffs at all. You know it, and they know.
I had them finishing last in their division. I had them winning 5 games.
Like, with that being said, and the fact that Mike Tomlin has these guys in a chance to make the playoffs is speaking volumes to me. Because at first they started with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. Mitch Trubisky. Get that out of here.
You got to go with Kenny up front. You got to give Kenny 2 gloves the ball.
He's finally got himself settled in. He's working the ball down the field. And that run game, that's the key with the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they could run the ball with Najee Harris and get 5 to 6 yards a carry, they're golden. They looked great against the Ravens. I know it was against Tyler Huntley, but they looked good against the Ravens. That defense looked good.
And the one thing about Kenny Pickett that he's shown, he's got it when they need it the most in the fourth quarter. I think he's already got two in the last 3 weeks, game-winning drives.
Yep.
Showcasing that he has it. And like you said, Najee Harris is they found a way to get him going, not just in the run game, but in the pass game too. And then with George Pickens has come on defensively, Minka Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt hold it down all the time. I gotta ride with you. Just the way that everything's shaped up in these last couple days. Like, honestly, if Buffalo wins last night, I'd probably take the Patriots because I don't think Buffalo will play their guys. I really didn't think they would. So I'd maybe have
I don't know if they would do that yet because they're still fighting for that first overall.
It would have been close. They might have not have played him the entire game, though. Might have been a half.
Well, yeah, they still want to win the game because the Chiefs have the same record as them right now.
And that tiebreakers and stuff.
Yeah, you get all that mixy jumbo stuff in there. But, yeah, I don't know. But like I said, I like the Steelers. But if Miami does sneak in, you might have a potential matchup of Kansas City versus Miami, and Tyreek Hill is going to have a game.
Oh, shootout galore.
If Tua can play, God willing, his health's good, it's going to be a game. And it's going to be very interesting to watch.
So that game will be first one to 50 wins.
Woo-wee. Going to be like a Mexico City game from a couple years ago.
Damn straight. All right. NFC-wise. Green Bay and Detroit. I'd never say that I would think the Detroit Lions were flexed into the Sunday night game with all of it on the table. But they need a Seattle Seahawks loss. Right? I think it's what it is because Seattle beat Detroit. Yeah.
Yep.
Head-to-head. But all I can say is, who does Seattle play? Do they play?
Seattle has the Rams.
Shit, the Packers are gonna get in. Fuck. Otherwise, honestly, I thought the Seahawks had San Fran again because I knew it was NFC West. I honestly thought it was San Fran, so that's on me. Because I was like, all right, Seattle loses, and then I'm riding with the fighting Dan Campbell's, baby. But nope, because Seattle's got the Rams. Seattle wins. Detroit's already eliminated by that night, so Green Bay's going to get it done. So, God damn it. Aaron's going to show up.
I mean, as much as I want Green Bay, as much as, the betting man me would take Green Bay, I'm rooting the hell out of Detroit, man. I am rooting for the hell out of them.
They need help, man. They need Baker to show up.
Yeah, they do. Oh, man. And plus they're home. The 12th man's going to be for real. Same thing with the Steelers, though, right? You didn't expect.
In Green Bay.
Yeah. But same thing with the Steelers. You did not expect the Seattle Seahawks to have a chance to make the playoffs this year.
Or Detroit. None of them.
Yeah, I know. Nah, Green Bay, I kind of thought they were going to make the playoffs.
Well, Green Bay I had in. I had them winning the division. I didn't think Detroit or Seattle would be in the conversation.
Yeah. So the fact is that Seattle themselves has a chance to make the playoffs, has potentially found a quarterback for at least 2 years, hopefully. Their defense looks good, too. You got to give some credit to Seattle. They're in a really good prime spot. I talked to a lot of my folks about Seattle and how they are set up, not only this year, but for future years now with what happened in Denver that transpired there, that Russell Wilson still has more toilets in his house than passing touchdowns. But that's nonetheless. Seattle, man, good for them. They're going to have a top 5 pick. They might be able to make the playoffs and still probably have their first round pick. They can get snagged 2 good players, man. They're in really good shape. But yeah, What's that?
They're on the come up.
Yeah, I mean, good for that. I didn't expect that.
Gino's shown that they don't need a quarterback.
No, man. I mean, Gino's gonna get paid. Now, question goes right back to you because I got to ask you this: do you think Jared Goff deserves a contract now extension with Detroit Lions?
Yeah, maybe not a full extension, but I think he's earned Gino type money. I think him and Gino have shown. Like, honestly, Jared wasn't that bad last year. If you actually go back into his numbers, they weren't awful. He was just leading a very bad football team. Like,
so if you're a Detroit Lion, hold on. No. Detroit has probably a top 5 to top 7 pick this year, right? So you're not taking a quarterback.
No, I'm not.
I completely disagree. I think they should take a quarterback still. You will never be at this position again.
Seattle doesn't need one, but Detroit does.
Yes.
What do you mean Jared Goff has had literally a Pro Bowl year?
I don't care. Give me a quarterback that you know is young.
These numbers are almost identical.
No.
Good Lord. You got me spalling off my couch right now. Good Lord.
Give me that. If you have that high of a draft pick and you expect to be as good or better now from years to come, Jared Goff cannot lead you this team there. You need a future franchise quarterback, and that may not be Bryce Love, but that damn well could be CJ Stroud.
So would you – all right, so now I'm thinking – okay, let's look at this now both ways because now Seattle will have a top 5 pick too. Would you have both of them go quarterback and bridge it for a year and then go with their younger guy the next year? I would keep both of them on. I see where you're going with it. I disagree. Like, I mean, Goff and Gino literally fit their systems perfectly for how they want to play football. And honestly, you can make the argument Goff has less weapons than Gino does.
I agree. Goff has a better offensive line now.
That's fair.
Goff has a better offensive line, and I do think Goff fits the scheme that Dan Campbell wants to run very well.
Perfectly.
I do
almost
think
reminiscent of him with McVay when they went to the Super Bowl.
All right, don't get ahead of yourself now, okay? You're comparing Sean McVay.
Going to the Super Bowl, but it's reminiscent. It's got the same type of style.
But if you're Detroit Lions, you're drafting the quarterback this year. You take CJ Stroud.
He ain't gonna be there. I don't think he'll get there. I don't think he'll be there.
You take CJ Stroud, and if not, you take Will Levis because that dude got an arm too. One of them dudes will lead you better than Jared freaking Goff. He just steals money from the Detroit Lions right now. No, get out of here. Get out of here. At least Gino is winning good games, valuable games. And if they make the playoffs and they win a game, that's incredible stuff right there. Gino Smith out of West Virginia. Incredible stuff, man. You gotta love to see it. But to get back to it, we'll get back to it though. Green Bay for me, I think is the one that's going to be in still. I think Green Bay wins it versus Detroit in Lambeau. No snow projected right now. I just checked the weather forecast. Well, I just checked the weather forecast. I got Green Bay's guy on 411 or whatever that shit's called.
You got the cheesehead meteorologist on speed dial?
Yeah. He called me up and says there's no Swiss cheese coming, so all clear. And Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers going to lead his way in. Now let's talk about this, right? Green Bay slides in at the 7th seed.
So they're going to get San Fran?
No. Well, we don't know we don't really know what's going to go on in that top 3, right? The only thing we know for sure is that Dallas will be playing Tampa Bay, okay? Which?
Oh, you got the Birds winning this week.
Oh, well, yeah, actually, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I think the Birds do win this week because
I don't think the Giants will play their guys this week.
Correct. Yeah, if you're the Giants, you're going to play it smart. You're going to play it smart, and you're not going to play your guys this week. Give them the week off, take rest, get yourself prepared, and get healthy, and let the Giants roll. Because if you let the Giants roll, let the Eagles roll, Eagles get the 1. It is what it is. You move along. But then that kind of gives you an idea like, all right, hey, we're going to either be playing San Fran or we're going to be playing Minnesota, right? You kind of got a good idea.
Get Minnesota, that's a winnable football game.
Look, I'm all in on San Fran. I still think San Fran, even with Brock Purdy, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I said, watch out. Brock Purdy can be replaced in this system, and he's been balling out.
He did.
Balling out. So watch out for San Fran. They have a dangerous team right now. Samuel's coming back soon. They got a great offensive line. CMC is the best running back in the league. No doubt about it. So he's going to go off. And their defense is playing outstanding ball, even though they got torched last week. But that is what it is. It happens.
Yeah, Jarrett Stidham. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's Devontae Adams. He's the number 1 wide receiver for me in the league. I don't really care what you say, but he's number 1 wide receiver for me. What are you going to say?
Is Derek done in Vegas?
Oh, you want to get in this talk? All right, here we go. Hey,
no, now that you went down to Vegas, I mean, if Derek leaves, Devontae's got to hold out because the whole reason he went to Vegas in the first place was to go play with his boy.
You're right. So I was talking today actually with a fine fellow folk of myself and another buddy of mine, and I said, Derek Carr leaves the Raiders, right? Where do you think he goes? Besides the Jets, because everybody is on the Jets. I get it. Fine, the Jets. But what's one team you think he could go?
If Washington fires goddamn Scott Turner, he can happily come to Washington.
Oh, my God, freaking Washington. I got a Washington. Hold on. Speaking about Washington, Blaine, I got a saying from Thomas Fuller from 1732. We were born crying, we live complaining, and we died disappointed. I think you live disappointed, too, as a Washington Commander.
Oh, my God. This last month has been absolute torture. That's all I can say. Honestly, we controlled our own destiny. All we had to do was we tied, we lost to the Giants, we lose to the Browns, and who we play the week before?
This wasn't the Giants. Did you play Giants? Wasn't Giants?
We played the Giants twice. We tied and we lost.
You tied the Giants, and then
we lost to somebody else. We lost to somebody else in between the Giants and Browns game. But
sorry.
No, wasn't
Minnesota? No.
Maybe we only played those 3 games. I don't know. But all I can say is that we controlled our own destiny.
San Fran.
The Niners, yeah. I mean, these last 4 weeks have been really miserable. So.
All right, let's not get into depressing mode here, all right there, buddy. Let's get back to Derek Carr.
Go back to Derek Carr.
Absolutely. Derek Carr talk. So you said Washington's kind of your point, I guess, right?
I mean, at this point, Washington is just like the Indianapolis Colts. We pick up a veteran quarterback, and they just get worse and worse when they get there. So that's all I can say about it.
All right,
so
fair enough.
I would say not Washington. I'm trying to think. Honestly, for Derek, there's not much out there right now. That's the problem. You know what? Actually, I would send his butt to Nashville.
Okay. Not a big fan of it, but okay.
I think the Titans would work. I
don't like it. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not a big fan of it. I didn't really think about them, but mine, to tell you the truth, but it's more of another prediction too. I think Tom Brady's out of Tampa Bay and he goes to Tampa Bay.
I think Tom Brady's retiring, so.
I mean, if you're Tampa Bay and Brady leaves of any sort, retires, goes to a different team, whatever the sort may be.
I actually like that.
But they're a team that they're built for now. They're not built for the future right now. They have to win now with the team kind of they have. And Carr's going to have an immense amount of weapons now if he goes there with Evans and Godwin, probably the most he's ever had. A decent run game in the backfield. The offensive line, once it gets healthy, will be at least a top 15, top 20 unit. A lot better than what he had with the Raiders. And their defense is just beat up. Like, they just have a crap ton of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. But like, for some reason, he just fits so perfectly with Tampa Bay if Brady leaves.
Can't believe it. I kind of like it. You sold me.
Hey, that's just what it is. But
yeah, Mike Evans, Godwin, their line sucks though, man. They need to rework that entire offensive line if he wants to be their guy.
Yeah, they're just a little beat up. I mean,
they're in Vegas. They can't block.
Yeah, they're beat up. They're beat up right now. I mean, that's just what it is. Like, Jets has been out almost all year. I believe they lost a guard too in training camp, if I'm not mistaken. So they're just beat up. They're beat up. But like, this offseason is going to be absolutely nuts with the quarterback carousel that's about to happen. Like, I don't think people are prepared for this.
Oh, 100%.
Like, you're at the moment where like Derek Carr might be gone, right? Tom Brady may retire. Aaron Rodgers may be gone. And now, if not, what is Jordan Love going to do? Is he going to be out? Is he going to want out? Like, what's going to go on with that situation? What goes on in San Fran, right? Like, Jimmy G's probably the one that's out, I guess. But like
who do you bench?
Yeah, like, what do you decide there?
Yo, if takes him to the Super Bowl, like he ain't gonna get benched for Lance.
I don't
Lance
know.
Complaining as the
Could
number
Lance
3
could Lance be the odd man out? Like, then you go down, you're still staying in the state of California. What could happen with Baker? Baker's been playing pretty well the last couple of weeks. Like, does he get a job somewhere else?
He's probably gonna stay as the backup in LA.
Okay. What happens in Cleveland? Everyone forgets about Jacoby Brissett. He played very well.
I like him. He's a very adequate. I think he's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the league.
Okay, that's pretty fair. I mean, I'm not going to sit here.
I'd say he's lower tier starter, but he's a bridge. Absolutely a definition bridge quarterback if you're looking for somebody.
I agree. What happens?
Goes down to Houston if they don't take Bryce Young number 1.
Possibility. That's definitely a possibility.
They don't take a quarterback. Houston doesn't take a quarterback.
Yeah. Then you have guys kind of like, what's going to go on with Zach Wilson? What goes on with Mike White? What goes on with Carson Wentz? What goes on with Taylor Heineke? Like, you have guys like that, which I don't think those guys can start, but they might be able to compete in training camp and maybe get a starting job in terms of like working your way through there. And then you got guys like who's been on the bench pretty much all year, Jameis Winston. Like, Jameis is still a pretty decent quarterback. I
think he's still the starter in New Orleans.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are like, well, like, are they going to be released? What's going to go on with them? What's going to happen? A lot of that's going to happen this offseason. I'm excited for it.
No, it's going to be fascinating. Extremely fascinating. It's going to be interesting to see how everything gets approached because now, like you just laid out, there's so many different guys looking for a job now that start in this offseason.
Yep.
So it's going to be really fascinating to look into that. All right, Joe, let's go into the final segment. We're calling this a new game here on the Final Whistle Sports Podcast. We've just happily celebrated the new year. We're in 2020.
Absolutely.
It's our Jordan year. If you had to make one New Year's resolution in any type of sport, what would you do?
New Year's resolution, any type of sport. Come back to me. Why don't you go first?
All right, I'll go back. I've got one. This rubbed me the wrong way this past week. College football, you idiots. Get rid of that goddamn 2-point conversion crap in the third overtime. Let them play the game out like normal human beings. Go get rid of this resolution that you put in 2 years ago that you wanted to shorten the game and protect these kids. All right? You're ruining the game. Kansas, Arkansas was 55-53, and a 2-point conversion decides the goddamn game because you wanted to do a 2-point conversion for the third overtime. Play the game for the 25-yard line. Let the team figure it out. 2 yards means nothing at this point. That's my New Year's. College football, go back to why'd you have to ruin the tradition? Go back to it.
Bones.
Boom! Where's my mic drop? Right here. Smash. I actually need this
Let me
microphone.
think. I think mine would be this. I hope the PGA Tour allows the live players to play in some of their events.
Ooh,
I think
good
that
one.
needs to come back. I think that needs to be discussed. I think it needs to happen. It's kind of hurting the game of the professional level of golf, in my opinion. You're losing guys like Brooks Koepka and Cameron Smith and coveted Phil Mickelson. So
Dustin
it pulls
Johnson.
it pulls the viewer away. And I'm not asking them to you don't have to allow them in every event. Like, that's fine. But like the pretty big events, like, Arnold Palmer, like the API, the Bay Hill, the players, even it's the one out west that I'm thinking of, Genesis, excuse me. Allow them to come and play in that. But also like the PGA could figure out their money situation and kind of start matching the live. So these players would be
They're
more
starting to on those bigger events now. They're gonna
correct.
try.
Correct. But yeah, that would be my New Year's resolution, I guess, for sporting wise. Especially for golf. I think we need to see the competitive side of those big names back together, not just only in the major.
Well, Masters already announced a couple weeks ago they're allowed to compete.
Yeah. Well, the thing is
so my question, I'm going to throw a question at you now. Since Augusta's already said that they're allowed to compete, there's no reason the other three majors will rule them out, will they? You think it's almost like a given that the other three are going to allow it?
If I'm not mistaken, the Open and US Open is ran by the USGA, not the PGA. So they will allow
US Opens, USGA, Opens, RNA.
Okay, so them two will most likely allow the live players. They won't really care. I don't think that's ever really been in discussion. Now the PGA Championship is, I guess, the one more in discussion because obviously it's owned by the PGA. So
Right.
that would be it. But also if you kind of had to rank your majors, the PGA is your ugly stepsister.
Is the fourth out of the four.
Yeah. There's been some battles there, but everybody knows the Masters. That's the coveted one. The US Open, you're gonna have treacherous conditions in terms of the land, and then the Open's the Open, one of the oldest majors out there. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, all four will most likely probably allow it. I think the PGA is going to need to figure out a way, like I said, to get these players willing to come and play in their events. So
yeah, I think it's a fair assessment. I think it'll be interesting. The biggest thing now is if Liv gets world golf ranking points. If that happens, it's a wrap for the PGA. They won't have a choice but to kind of start co-sponsoring stuff.
correct. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. It's going to be interesting the way it kind of plays out. That's for sure. So we'll see how it comes out because there's a big event believe this week. The Century Open, I think it is. That's
Century this week. TOC tournament this week?
Yeah, I think the Century's this week. So it's starting to come back. Some big names are playing in it. So
all right, and golf's back in full swing. Football's at the pinnacle, starting to. Hopefully, we'll get some Dallas Cowboy demise like we always do. That'd be nice. I'm just begging. All right, Joe. What was your synopsis? You're officially the final whistle. How did your episode go? First one.
Oh, it was incredible.
I know you've been on the show. You've been on the show way too many times. So this isn't your first episode, but still.
It was a blast, man. We had a great time. Good discussions all over. You may disagree, you may agree, but we're all going to love each other in the end. So, and as always, we got to say it, but T's and P's out to, the Buffalo Bills and Hamlin out there and his family and shit like that. So, make sure you keep him in your prayers. That's for sure.
Without question. And remind me to send you your merch out to you. All right. I keep forgetting. So
Yeah,
Remind me
yeah,
to
and you
do
can
that.
send the payroll at my Venmo too as well, right?
All right, you got it. I'll expect you my surcharge fee in about 20 minutes. All right, everybody. This was Blaine Spencer, Joe Chichilitti of the Final Whistle Sports Podcast signing off. Everybody enjoy your week. We'll see you next week.